Secretary of State Schultz arrives in Moscow to meet with Soviet officials as preparations for a superpower summit begin. Full coverage tomorrow on the CBS Morning News.
This is CBS.
The scene outside Busch Stadium, it's Game 4 of the World Series. You're looking at Twins fans in St. Louis, Missouri.
Finally, they've arrived. We have several live reports coming up by tonight's 6 p.m. report.
And from the Twin Cities, we'll meet the youngest Twins fan. His middle name starts with V, and we'll tell you which twin it stands for.
The 6 p.m. report is coming up next.
Do men make passes at women who wear glasses? You bet they do. If the women know where to shop. Dueling Optical. Their style and selection. Designer frames to contact lenses. Professional consultants who care. And affordability.
With eyeglass purchase, receive a free pair of eyeglasses or daily wear contact lenses.
So remember, buy your eyewear at Dueling and never, no, never answer the phone on the first ring.
Something strange happens whenever Super Value has a super stock-up sale. Everyone drops whatever they're doing. In fact, no one can think about anything else but dropping everything just to come and save money.
Stock up and save now through Saturday. Prego spaghetti sauce, assorted varieties, $1.39. Or Chungking chow mein, $1.99. And Idaho and specialty potatoes, only 59 cents.
So come to Super Value's Super Stock-Up sale. When it's all over, you can pick up where you left off.
You are watching WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul. This is the 6 p.m. report.
Good evening, everyone. Among the items we'll cover tonight, the search for a Cessna plane carrying 4 people, which has been missing since Monday when it took off from Nebraska. The horrendous traffic jams that have plagued the Shakopee area are the subject of a public forum in progress tonight. And Jamie Fisk, the liver transplant patient of 5 years ago, has returned to Minnesota for a checkup. But first, 90 minutes away from Game 4 in St. Louis, and while the Twins' juggernaut was momentarily silenced there last night, not so their followers. As proof, demand for Homer hankers remained so strong, the factory ran out of material to make them today. 26,000 kids and their parents will visit the Metrodome tonight to watch the game on big screen TV. And the Bloomington manufacturing firm got nostalgic today. It threw a tailgating party this noon for its 400 employees. All of this in anticipation of what Twin fans will hope will be a night in which their team regains momentum in the series. Of course, Cardinal fans are expecting for quite the opposite. Don Shelby, Pat Miles in St. Louis.
Yes, Dave, thank you. You're looking at some of the crowd starting to pile into Busch Stadium for tonight's game between the Cardinals and the Twins. Last night, of course, these fans had something to cheer about with the Cardinals winning. Tonight, however, we're seeing some of the Twins fans who have arrived today on a charter flight. I think there was something like 500 people aboard.
On that particular flight, and the flights have been coming in all day long. These fans, like these anchors, you can tell, are kind of bundled up just a little bit against tonight's weather, which expects to get back down to about 30 degrees. That's the forecast now. We'd like to go down to the field right now to Mark Rosen, who is down there where it's probably even colder than it is in the stands on any given cold night in St. Louis. Mark, is that going to have much of an effect on the way the team plays tonight?
Oh, I don't think so, Don. As you mentioned, I think the temperature will be about the same. And quite frankly, it feels a little bit warmer on the field tonight than it did last night at this time because the winds aren't as strong. The wind is blowing out a little bit. The Twins are taking batting practice right now, and I think the cold air certainly has a lot more to do with the fact that teams have trouble hitting home runs here than the actual dimensions of the ballpark, because the ball does fly out of here pretty good in the summertime. I guess the overall view of tonight's game, John Tudor last night certainly effectively shut down the Twins' attack. It remains to be seen whether Greg Matthews, another left-hander, will be able to do the same. Quite frankly, the Twins feel that Tudor is maybe their only starter on the Cardinal staff who's capable of doing that. Matthews, it may take a Tudor-like performance by Matthews to shut down what has been a very strong Twins attack up until last night. On the flip side, of course, the Twins have the race going. That's Frank Viola, who beat the Cardinals in Game 1. Viola's strength, keeping the runners off the bases. He's got pinpoint control, and that has been the key. The Cardinals do not have a great hitting attack. They rely on a lot of hits to get a lot of runs. And certainly the Twins, I feel, are not overconfident, but certainly confident of bringing home a win tonight. Bert Blyleven, who will pitch tomorrow night's Game 5, will be our guest a little bit later right here on the 6 p.m. report. Back to you guys.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. Hope that holds up and hope it is true. Now, these Cardinal fans that we've been telling you about since we got down here on Monday think of themselves as the greatest baseball fans in the world, and certainly you get no argument from Pat or from me. They certainly are some of the very best fans in the United States. When you're in this town, it is not hard to see why the people get caught up in this fan support business.
This town, as we've said repeatedly, has a history of being a baseball town. So many of the people who live here are really just rabid Redbird fans. Pat Kessler had an opportunity to meet some of them today, and he is standing by now with a report for us. Pat?
He's a fly ball. He had only one though all season. He grounded there.
The papers call it Whitey Ball. To the fans, it's Redbird fever.
I need two, man. One for each crutch. Wave them high. I'm going to wave them high.
They may copy the Homer Hankey, but the blood in their veins is Cardinal red.
Yeah. They're from Minneapolis, everybody.
The Cardinals drew 3 million fans this year, and the World Series is only part of the reason. The team averages 43,000 people per game, even in a losing season. And they come from everywhere.
Los Angeles. This is Houston, Texas right here.
I'm from Wiesbaden, Germany.
This is also beer country, and the people who own this team play the Budweiser song during every game. It is even enough to split families right down the middle.
You're bringing this controversy right to the ballpark. You going to settle it here?
Yeah, we're gonna settle it by having the Cardinals win 3 straight, and then we get to see the play again back in Minneapolis.
He doesn't understand. He's been around a long time, but he doesn't understand that Herbeck and Gaetti, they're going to smash ones right over the ball.
Well, St. Louis says it has the best fans in the United States, the best baseball fans anywhere. I don't know. What do you think? Yeah! No? It's going to be a couple more hours before we can decide just who's going to win this argument. If any argument here, it's got to be for the Twins. I don't know. Although we do have some card stands. We'll have to see. We'll be back in a few hours, okay? Don and Pat.
All right, Pat. We don't want to get into any fights out here now. No. We're just about an hour away from the game, and as you can see, people are getting ready for it. They're looking forward to this one very much.
And we're going to be sending it back to you in Minneapolis and St. Paul, but we'll be standing by with more information a little bit later on the show directly from the field.
Very good. Thank you. Once again, a reminder of special programs before and following the game. First, at 6:30, our special preview show, and later, following the game, a special edition of Twins Extra. Dayton Hudson is one of several Twin Cities firms that have begun buying back their own stock following Monday's market crash. Other local firms buying up their own stock include Honeywell and 3M. This move is seen as a show of confidence. Incidentally, 3M today reported record earnings for the third quarter, $249 million on sales of nearly $2.5 billion. If you've ever sat through the traffic working your way ponderously to Canterbury Downs or Valley Fair, Renaissance Fair, or any of the other myriad attractions that have developed near Shakopee, you will be interested in this. Tonight, some state lawmakers are meeting to consider plans to relieve that congestion. Alan Cox is in the Shakopee area, and he's here to report on the story. Alan?
Dave, it takes commitment to get a crowd for a government meeting just before a Twins World Series game, but more than 200 people are here asking for more road money. They are upset that state lawmakers have put the brakes on highway construction, and Scott County says it needs help badly. The self-styled entertainment corridor often gets snarled, as it did last April on opening day at Canterbury Downs. Local residents say a 15-minute commute from home to work easily stretches to an hour when the track, Valley Fair, and the Renaissance Festival are in operation. Shakopee says it has one of the worst intersections in the state, a heavy truck passing every 20 seconds. Ambulance services complain they are dangerously delayed at times. Grain truck drivers from all over southwestern Minnesota complain about the delays. Well, lawmakers this afternoon followed some of that route on a bus. Some of the lawmakers say that they're convinced that local officials throughout Minnesota want more road spending, but that they are not convinced that the voters, that the people of Minnesota want more construction, or at least want higher taxes to pay for it. This debate goes on here. This morning, Washington County made their case to the committee, and Dave, we're seeing a debate that's going to be going on when spring training comes around next year, a debate in the legislature.
Thank you, Ellen. Still to come on the 6 p.m. report tonight, the search for a missing plane and the 4 Twin Cities residents who disappeared with it. And Jamie Fisk of Boston returns to the Twin Cities 5 years after a much-publicized liver transplant at the University of Minnesota.
Of all the leading brands of kidney and chili beans, only Butter Kernel contains nothing artificial. Butter Kernel, the natural choice.
Hi there, glad you're here. This is the iWorks, and this is their promise. Glasses fast, glasses bright. Let me show you. First, an exam by a doctor of optometry. Then you pick out frames from thousands. Now here's why they're really fast. They make your glasses in their own lab. They can do it in an hour. The price is right.
The iWorks. Glasses fast, glasses right. Call for an exam or bring in your prescription.
My little granddaughter thought I was always cold because I shake all the time. It's hard to describe Parkinson's disease to a 6-year-old. Thank goodness for the Parkinson's disease clinic at Methodist Hospital. Because of the support and advice I get from the clinic, I learned how to be honest with her and with myself.
The Parkinson's Disease Clinic at Methodist Hospital. Call Healthline 932-5500.
In the West, when you had something of value, you put your brand on it. It was more than a sign of ownership. It was a symbol of pride. At U.S. West Direct, we still believe in that tradition. For over 100 years, we've published the yellow pages people depend on in the West. So chances are the yellow pages that get used around your house are the ones with our brand on the cover. U.S. West Direct, the one that gets used.
Tonight, the search continues for 4 Twin Cities residents who have been missing since late Monday. They were on a small plane which flew from the Twin Cities to Nebraska on Sunday. The plane left late Monday on a return flight to Crystal Airport, but has not been heard from since. Caroline Lowe is covering that story. She's in our St. Paul newsroom. Caroline?
Well, Dave, the twin-engine Cessna 310 was expected to arrive in the Twin Cities early Tuesday morning. Since yesterday, crews have been searching for the plane and its occupants from Nebraska to Minnesota. The group includes the pilot, 38-year-old Bob Cardis of northeast Minneapolis, a business associate, 35-year-old John Friedman of Maple Grove, Friedman's 37-year-old sister Shirley, who lives with him, and the woman's 4-year-old daughter, Rachel. They flew in this plane to Nebraska Monday night to drop off the Friedman's father, who had spent the weekend in the Twin Cities watching the World Series. The plane refueled and was headed back to Crystal.
And it's been a day and a half, and so things don't look real good, but if, you know, they were to go down for whatever reason, they're all level-headed people, and they can handle themselves, and they're not going to, you know, get out of control or anything, and I'm sure they can handle whatever emergency came up. And so we'll just wait and hang by the phone as much as we can and hope to hear from them.
Joe Friedman says his father told him the plane encountered some turbulence en route to Nebraska, but not enough to make anyone aboard overly concerned.
He was very surprised that there was, you know, any problem, so, you know, he wasn't worried enough to call here and check to make sure they made it. So
the plane is owned by the pilot's girlfriend, who says Cardis has been flying for about 4 years. 8 planes are involved in the Minnesota portion of the search, which is being coordinated by the Civil Air Patrol. Dave?
Thank you, Caroline. A training fire turned tragic in southern Minnesota last night. 31-year-old Robert Edwards, a Hollandale volunteer fireman, died in a vacant house which was set afire as part of a training exercise near Maple Island. Officials say apparently he got lost in the smoky house and couldn't make his way out. 200 residents of homes of Noyes, Minnesota, excuse me, are back in their homes tonight after the town was vacated yesterday. A rail car full of liquid propane overturned, and the threat of explosion prompted the evacuation. The rail car, as it turned out, did not leak the fuel, and it was moved today so the residents could return to their homes. A Coon Rapids apartment building was vacated this afternoon when fire broke out. 2 units in the Oak Groves apartment were damaged. No one was injured. Jamie Fisk of Boston, the girl who captured the nation's heart 5 years ago, is back in the Twin Cities tonight. She received a life-saving liver transplant at the University of Minnesota back in 1982. Today, Jamie returned for her annual checkup. We'll find out how she's doing on Friday when her family holds a news conference. Bud Peeling made a wonderful Freudian slip today when he talked about the first shovelable weather.
He told me about that. Anyway, yeah, we do have that coming at us. Some folks might get to test their snowblowers by tomorrow afternoon. We'll tell you about that in just a minute.
Stauffer Seeds, America's fastest growing seed company. Pride, the biggest little seed company in the northern corn belt. And Northrop King with over 100 years of experience. Now these three companies are working together. Introducing the new Northrop King, the second largest seed company in America, bringing you seeds and service that are second to none. The new Northrop King, the second largest seed company in America.
Hi, I'm here to tell you about our practically free checking.
Excuse me, but First Minnesota money market checking is free with a low minimum balance. Plus, you're in high rates.
Well, there's no interest on ours, actually.
And you get a credit card with no annual fee.
Oh, really?
Free cash machine use.
We have free parking.
Free checks, too. And you can bank at over 50 offices.
What's your bank again?
First Minnesota, what's yours?
First Minnesota, the new bank.
By the most exacting of standards, you stand out. You're the best, and your car is no exception. It's simply exceptional. A first-class ticket to automotive luxury. No compromises. The 88 Cressida. It all starts at your Toyota dealer. He'll help with a deal that makes sense for you. Great car, great deal. But you gotta go see him. When you're at the controls, you can afford a great time. So head to your Toyota dealer and ride with the best.
The neighbor on the right bought the Toro CCR 2000 last year, which prompted his neighbor to the left to get one this year. He soon discovered that it was compact, easy to handle, yet had the power to clear 12 inches of heavy snow. He also discovered that while this Toro with the unique curved rotor would throw snow 30 feet to the left, it would also throw it to the right.
CCR 2000's guaranteed to start in 2 pulls. Northeast Hardware, Valley Motors, Northland Saws and Stoves.
In my view, all snow is shovelable. The question at this hour is it shovelable?
Shovelable. Well, probably the further north you go, yes, it will be. I don't think it's anything to get really excited about here over most of the metro area, but some of the northern suburbs may get 1 to 2 inches.
Oh, my.
If you're traveling up into the central and northern part of the state, especially up around Duluth, maybe up to 3 inches of snow. So somebody will have some shovelable snow for tomorrow. This is part of the reason why clouds are streaming south. Another little disturbance up in Canada is going to spread across the state tonight, and with that, some snow. Exactly where the path is well, being determined, I guess, right now. High temperature, 42 degrees, 30 for an overnight low. We've not had any precipitation yet here in the Twin Cities, but there is some coming in. Right now in St. Louis, it's 47 degrees. By the time we get to the game, it's going to be a little bit cooler. This disturbance is going to affect us a little bit later on in the week, maybe another chance of snow Thursday night and into Friday before we clear up for the weekend. It'll be around 44 degrees, you think, when the game starts. Fair and cold, west winds at 5 to 15. Not quite as bad as last night, but temperature's right down there anyway. Tomorrow's weather map, the low pressure area brushing onto the south, a little bit of flurry activity up around it. By morning, maybe some accumulating snow here around the Twin Cities, but most of the snow is going to fall throughout the day tomorrow and then taper off tomorrow night. High temperatures in the meantime in the 30s, 40s here to the south, 50s on a little bit further to the south. Well, in the Twin Cities right now, we're cloudy. It's 39 degrees, 54% humidity with south winds at 10, a dew point of 24, and the barometer's 3016, and it's falling. Our forecast for tonight. Light snow flurries, some accumulation possible, a low of 30. There is a weather advisory for snow out from the National Weather Service. For tomorrow, we'll have light snow flurries, 1 to 3 inches possible, the heaviest amounts of that falling in the northern suburbs, 40 degrees for a high temperature. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy, a few flurries, 29, and again for Friday, mostly cloudy, a few flurries with around 40 degrees. The extended outlook, it's going to clear up for the weekend and slowly warm up into the upper 40s by Monday, overnight lows in the 20s, warming to around 30 by Monday. It's going to be a cold weekend if they have to come back and play games.
All right, thank you. No more fervent boosters are there of the St. Louis Cardinals than the Busch family of St. Louis. Of course, they own the Cardinals, and they are the ones for whom Busch Stadium is named, and they also own the Budweiser Brewing Company in St. Louis. Last night, they were showing off the Budweiser Clydesdale at the start of the game. With all that support for the Cardinals, one can imagine the surprise of one of our sharp-eyed editors, Dana Benson, who spotted this sign in a downtown Minneapolis window this morning. Budweiser win Twins. Did they really mean this, or is Bud just out for our beer buck? Well, that's a good joke on them, isn't it?
Yes, and we all know who has the better of the horses, right? The Twins do. Like manager Tom Kelly has said all season, we take them one at a time. Next one's tonight, Viola against Matthews, and let's reshuffle the deck, see if we can get a better hand tonight.
Perkins introduces 7 new melt sandwiches. Sandwiches. Tummy heaven.
You hear the thunder, the call of the road.
Get on a new 88 at your Greater Metropolitan Pontiac dealers. Grand Am, Pontiac's hottest and one of America's best-selling cars. Le Mans, amazing value with prices starting at just $59.95. See all the new 88 Pontiacs now at your Greater Metropolitan Pontiac dealers. They will move you.
We're Charlie Boone and Rog Erickson, broadcasting live from St. Louis. Tomorrow morning on CCO Radio, the radio home of the Twins and the World Series.
A moment like this happens once in a lifetime. That's why you insisted on Kodak VRG film for sharpness, brilliant color, and amazing detail. And why you chose film developing using the Kodak Color Watch system with Kodak paper, Kodak chemicals, Kodak computer monitoring. One moment, one chance. Trust Kodak VRG film and the Kodak Color Watch system, now at all Target stores.
Nothing's too good for my Betsy. Want to see your picture?
Doesn't the car you love deserve antifreeze with AluGuard? There's nothing better at any price. Over 80 different brands contain AluGuard, including these.
Baseball history, I think, will record tonight's game as the pivotal game in this series.
Oh, would that be a big one to win? Go up 3-1 or tied 2-2, huh? We're going to just review the thing just to get us psyched up for tonight here again. The Twins were chilled in St. Louis last night. The Cardinals grabbing their first win of the series with a 3-1 win over the Twins. Rookie Les Straker turned in a brilliant performance in this game. He stymied Cardinal hitters with sharp command of the strike zone. He seemed to make the right pitch at the right time all night. He threw 6 scoreless innings, and he was almost equaled by his counterpart, John Tudor, maybe the premier left-hander in the National League. He painted the plate, working the corners, moving the ball into hitters' weaknesses. The game remained scoreless until the 6th inning. Tudor walked Greg Gagne and Kirby Puckett, and then gave up this broken bat single to Tom Brunansky. Well, the Twins led it 1-0 at that point, but from there, the bats went silent in the chilly St. Louis air. There's the base hit that scores it. Juan Berenguer replaced Straker in the 7th, and his fastball was just the ticket for the Cardinals. Vince Coleman, a 2-run double down the left field line, just inside the bag. That puts the Cardinals ahead 2-1 to stay. Berenguer has had a very little success in his 2 World Series appearances. He retired just 1 batter last night. Ozzie Smith plating Coleman with a single, and that puts it away for St. Louis. They win it 3-1 the final. The Twins are still leading the series, of course, 2-1. Mark Rosen is among the CCO crew down in the Mississippi and St. Louis, and he's standing by with one of the few Twins with World Series experience, Bert Blyleven. Mark?
Yeah, Bert's right here. Can't you see him? Actually, Bert right now is getting his running in the outfield at the moment. As you might imagine, there's media madness behind me. Tommy Lasorda, the Dodger manager, is holding court back here. Bert got a little bit behind in his running, and if he shows up, obviously, the next minute or so, we'll grab him here. I think the key thing in talking to a lot of ball players, RJ, you know, they went through this last week in Detroit. They said the Twins are only a home team, you know, a kind of team that can win under the dome, under the big top. Well, they went out and proved in Detroit that, yes, indeed, they can play when the conditions aren't perfect. They did it in Detroit against a Tiger team that, quite frankly, they feared more than this St. Louis team for one reason, their lineup. The Twins, they got a lot of things out of their system, I feel, last night in Busch Stadium here, and they feel a lot more comfortable tonight in facing the elements and facing Greg Matthews, who they feel is going to have a John Tudor-like performance to beat them. The Twins do not have a lot of fear about the St. Louis Cardinals lineup as long as you get the control from the pitchers. Frank Viola has been known for his control, and if he can keep people off the bases, I think that's really the #1 key to tonight's game. But I think they're really sick and tired of hearing the fact that they can only win at home. They did it in Detroit, and they feel they can do it in St. Louis. Yeah, one out of the next two would be ideal, right? They can come back home with a 3-game-to-2 lead, but they really, quite frankly, feel they can do it with the next two nights with Viola and Blyleven. The two pitchers that Whitey Herzog said have carried the Twins all year long.
We'll settle for 1 of 2 or 2 of 2. Thanks, Mark. The Cardinals are really deeper with starting pitching than the Twins. Tonight in Game 4, they will use their 4th starter, while the Twins will give Frank Viola the ball for the 2nd time. Viola pitched Game 1, of course, but he says his arm is rested and ready to go. Greg Matthews gets the call for the Cardinals tonight at Busch Stadium. Frankie Sweet Music Viola in the playoffs. He has 2 wins, including Game 1 of the series in the Dome Saturday night. Viola is a fastball and changeup pitcher. He pitched about as well as he ever has in Game 1. Against Detroit, Viola pitched on 3 days rest and was the winner. His opponent tonight, Greg Matthews, making his debut in the World Series. Matthews, of course, was a surprise starter in Game 1 of the National League Championship Series because of an injury to Danny Cox, and he wound up beating San Francisco. That score was 5-3. So let's go get him tonight in St. Louis.
We would like to think that someday Bert Blyleven will meet little Kyle Granning, but the two have a very special connection, and we'll explain in just a moment.
Shop the old-time sale at Menards for big savings in hardware. Texaco Haviland Motor Oil is on sale now. Buy a case of 12 and save even more. With Texaco's rebate and bonus rebate, your net cost is just 35 cents per quart. Harlock quality lock sets are on sale, too, for interior and exterior doors like this passage lock for just $3.49. Make Menards your hardware headquarters during the old-time sale. At Menards old-time sale.
If you're shopping for family cars, you've probably checked out Toyota Camry and Honda Accord. But your shopping list isn't complete until you've added this new Mazda 626. It has more interior room, more luxury features, and more standard equipment, and beats Camry and Accord by hundreds. Just drive it, and you'll put the 626 at the top of your list.
It's all part of our intense commitment to your total satisfaction. That's the Mazda way.
See your Mazda dealer in Minnetonka, White Bear, St. Paul, Richfield, and Brooklyn Center.
In business, changes are just a fact of life. For example, you can type something perfectly, and then new information comes in.
Okay, that's perfect, but would you change the opening?
Maybe that's why secretaries prefer Xerox typewriters.
Oh, and add that comma.
They make revisions easy. In tests, 8 out of 10 people preferred a Xerox typewriter to other leading models, even an IBM.
And that's it, okay?
No problem.
Xerox, the perfect typewriter for the way business really is.
To clear a little snow, an Aaron's ST2+2 Compact is your best choice. To clear a little more snow, an Aaron's 5-horse model is your best choice. And to clear even more snow, Aaron's 8-horse Deluxe model is your best choice. In fact, if one of Aaron's 17 two-stage snow throws isn't right for you, you have only one choice.
Buy a new Aaron's snow throw before November 15th and get a free parka hat and gloves at these Aaron's dealers.
20 years from now, when Kyle B. Granning of Robbinsdale is asked about his middle name, he'll say, well, I was born in 1987 when Bert Blyleven was helping the Twins win the World Series, so my parents named me Kyle Blyleven Granning. Sunday night, while the Twins were producing 7 runs in the 4th inning, Patty Jo Granning, with husband Ball standing by, was producing 12-pound, 7-ounce Kyle. And since they hadn't selected a middle name, and with Bert doing his thing a few blocks away from Abbott Northwestern, Blyleven seemed a natural, as they hope Kyle will be. Thank you, and good night.
In October, get Philips Longer Life Soft White Bulbs and earn a $1 rebate when you buy 2 4-packs for just $3.66 at participating True Value hardware stores.
Where can you get answers to your medical questions if you can't reach your doctor? Call 874-4444 for Medformation.
Mufflers Plus, Auto Images, Trusty Transmission, Modine, Cartronics, Aber Auto Body, All Imports, Firestone, Jiffy Lube, Amico, Automall.
This is the Twin Cities. This is the Twin Cities' favorite store. And And this is why. You won't find lower prices on a Worlds of Wonder laser tag game kit for $39.97 or a Gold Star black and white TV for $49. And we won't be undersold on a Northern Electric blanket for $18.88 either. Kmart, the store that won't be undersold. That's one more reason we're America's favorite store.
Something strange happens whenever Super Value has a super stock-up sale. Everyone drops whatever they're doing. In fact, no one can think about anything else but dropping everything just to come and save money.
Stock up and save now through Saturday. Prego spaghetti sauce, assorted varieties, $1.39. Or Chungking chow mein, $1.99. And Idaho and specialty potatoes, only 59 cents.
So come to Super Value's Super Stock-Up Sale. When it's all over, you can pick up where you left off.
WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Channel 4.